Whereas high performers are much more intentional by being more directed and having more deep time. The kicker here is if you can up the amount of deep time that you do, quality solitude work.
Because there's always going to be things out there to distract you. But I think the difference between a distraction and just something is an intention. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, for episode number 502, we are going to talk to you about how to get the most out of your time. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode where we were interviewed on Daryl Stinson's podcast. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that Alan and I have these giant cutouts of our head. They were gifted to us by our amazing girlfriends and the amazing team for the 500 episode celebration. So if you're not watching on YouTube, you want to tune in and see our big fat heads, you can do that.
This is hilarious, man, literally.
So Alan is going to be running most of this because this is the 4Ds. I believe somebody wanted to know more about them because you spoke about them recently.
Yeah, so someone had mentioned in a direct message to Amy, well, to me, and Amy had responded, and it was about the 4Ds of time. I think I mentioned them briefly. So just to provide some context here, I had a coach early on after Brendan Burchard's event in 2018. We met him in person. His name's Alex, and he coached me for a time. One of the best coaches I've ever had, honestly, and he taught me these 4Ds of time, and they're absolute fire. Okay, so there's, again, 4Ds of time. The first one is distracted. The second one is deep. The third one is down. And the fourth one is directed. And so basically what Alex had taught me was that the difference between high performers and low performers. So picture a pie chart.
I like pie.
Me too. For low performers. And it's a pie chart is just percentages. Okay, so let me first define what the Ds are. Distracted is any time that you're spending time on something that you didn't intend on spending time with. So if you said, when I go home tonight, I'm going to eat this meal and watch this Netflix show, that's actually not distracted time because you intended, you set the intention to do that, okay? But if you're scrolling through Instagram and suddenly messaging someone that you didn't intend to message, that's a distraction. That falls under the distracted bucket, okay? So picture 4 buckets. Distracted is number 1, and that's where most non-performers or low performers spend most of their time, is all day, every day, just distracted, right? Yeah. Unintentional living. Then you've got deep time. I'm reading a book right now called Deep Work by Cal Newport, and he talks about how deep work is so overvalued in today's marketplace because so few people can do it because of our devices and our distractions. We're living in a very prolific, distracting world. Okay. And then so deep time is basically any time where you're focused on one thing and one thing only for an extended period of time. That's basically anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half. I do hour and a half jam sessions. I actually track the number of hour and a half jam sessions I do per day. I average usually around 3. So that's in my system of success. So you've got distracted time, you've got deep time. Number 3, downtime. This is R&R. Again, scheduled R&R, things where it's actually cup filling. So if you're, hanging out with friends, but you're in the anxiety zone and you're stressed out, that is not downtime. Downtime means your brain is turned off. You're actually refilling your cup. I'll usually watch something that I've seen before. So I love movies. So I'll watch a movie that I've seen so many times that I can just chill and not have to pay attention in order to get every little bit of it, and I can kind of watch it without watching it type of thing while eating food. That, for me, is such great R&R. Okay, so that's downtime. So you've got distracted, you've got deep, you've got down, and now you've got directed. So Kevin and I talk often, and we gave a mastermind on this recently of our systems of success. So our whole team does peak performance tracking. All my clients do that as well, and that's all directed time. So Kev, you have a system of success.
Some would say.
I guess talk a little bit about that, because all of your system of success is directed time. That's basically you chose in advance. These are the things that need to get done, and then you're executing.
Yeah, so I have 16 things that I do. I won't say I do every day, but I'm supposed to do every day.
Mm-hmm. 16?
16, yeah.
Holy crap.
They're designed for health, wealth, and love. So the gym, mobility, meditation, making sure that the Next Level Podcast Systems team services, Next Level Podcast Services. The content team has everything they need. Posting on social media, posting on my story. Every single thing that I do has an intention and there's a reason to it, right? And even to your point, the downtime, my downtime, like I'll say, like when I go home tonight, Taryn and I are just going to hang out on the couch and watch TV.
Right.
Like that's designed because again, I don't want to say this job because it's not a job. This career, what we do takes a lot of cognitive function. Like we just had the deepest talk before this. We've been in the studio right now. We're recording this. Is probably it's 3:30. We've been in the studio since 11. It's been 4.5 hours, and we've been, sending messages to prospects and doing like. It's not like we were just hanging out.
Yeah.
Right. So at this point, we're already somewhat fried. When I go home tonight, when I get home at 8 p.m., I just want to relax. I want to rest.
For sure.
Yeah.
Especially rest your mind.
Yes.
Same. So the last thing I want to say here, because the timer's going to go off in a minute.
Quick one for you guys.
Quick one. The 4 Ds of time, what you want to realize, there's going to be, if you really want this episode to change your life, because this framework really did change my life because it got me to be more aware of how I'm spending my time. I want you to think about high performers versus low performers, okay? I'm going to give you 2 pie charts and percentages, and these are just ballpark percentages. Low performers, I want you to picture this pie chart. I want you to picture downtime is about 30%. I want you to picture deep time is like 0%. They do very little deep work, if anything, okay? Distracted time is, we'll call it 50%. Okay, and directed time is only 20%. So if you're at work and you have a 9 to 5 or any sort of job, there's probably some. I have one client who basically, if you have any form of KPIs, key performance indicators, then you most likely have some directed time. So for example, when you used to work as a construction foreman, you probably had certain tasks that were expected of you to get done. That's your directed time. Low performers have only directed time, downtime, and distracted time. Most of their time is distracted, okay? High performers, they flip the script. And so let me make sure that was, so 50% plus 30% plus 20%. So 0, so that was the correct percentage.
Your math was right.
Cool, thank you, brother. Okay, so for high performers have almost no distracted time, and that's the biggest difference. They have a lot of deep time, usually about 30% deep time. They usually have about 30% downtime, which is good. And at 20%, just so you know, in a 16-hour day is actually 3.1 hours of downtime. So that's my goal. I try to have at least 20% of downtime per day, 3 hours where I'm literally chilling. And I don't always hit that, to be honest. I could do better. And then the rest, directed time. Almost no distracted time. So the biggest difference between high performers and low performers is that low performers spend most of their time distracted and reacting to solicitations on their time and attention, whereas high performers are much more intentional by being more directed and having more deep time. The kicker here is if you can up the amount of deep time that you do, quality solitude work. I have a timer in my backpack that I always have with me where I set 90-minute jam sessions. I got this from Darren Hardy. And for 90 minutes, I force myself to do only my most important tasks. And those jam sessions change your life.
Mostly Jeff 1, Jeff 2. You're Jeff 2, I'm Jeff 1.
Right.
Mostly Jeff 2 today. I think it's very valuable. I think it's important because, and we've done this before, and we'll get out of here in a minute, but we've gone through and done a time audit and try to figure out where are we spending our time. Right. If you were to do that on a day-to-day, like if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, when you get home tonight, figure out like, all right, how much time did I actually spend doing these things?
Right.
How much of it was deep? How much of it was directed? How much of it was distraction, honestly? Because with social media and your phone near you constantly, it's very easy to get distracted.
Very easy.
It's very easy to get distracted.
Do you have a main takeaway for the listeners to get to the next level before we go?
My takeaway for the listeners to get to the next level, honestly, it would be remain as intentional as you can, because there's always going to be things out there to distract you. But I think the difference between a distraction and just something is an intention.
Right.
Like you have to allow it to distract you. You have to allow it. Like your phone, here's an easy way not to get distracted. Flip it over.
Right.
Like you can't get distracted by your phone if it's flipped over. And make sure it's on silent.
Right.
If you have the ability. Like if you have a family and you're waiting on somebody, like sure, but
But even then, you can put them in your emergency contacts so that it does ring. If my mom, my sister, Emilia, or you call me, it rings. Yeah. The one thing I would say to take away to get to the next level is try to get more uninterrupted solitude work in, and just understand that downtime is not distracted time. If you're getting R&R, that does not mean you're scrolling through Facebook.
Right.
You're actually off. You actually turn it off for a minute. Remember, it's the person who rests more effectively who's going to win the all-out sprint the next day.
I like resting. Shout out to the new members of Next Level Nation: Rita, Justin, Chuck, Johanna, Mock, Kevin, and Crystal. We appreciate you guys. Private Facebook group, Next Level Nation, a group of like-minded individuals who are also passionate about getting to the next level. We would love for you to join.
And all of you are going to actually meet Johanna on Sunday because she's coming on the podcast to talk to us about kids and the effect of social media on them. Also, masterminds, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Monday. This upcoming mastermind is going to be on, basically, I used to have a quote that I lived by, which was, what you'll never learn in school, but desperately need to know. So it's going to be on the top 10 things that you need to know that school never taught you. So, as you know, our education system came up, trying to train people for the Industrial Revolution. The economy in the world has changed more in the last decade than the previous 100. Things are changing rapidly. And Tony Robbins says this: you can't have an extraordinary life with an ordinary education. Let us help you understand the things you really do need to know to succeed in the new economy.
That will be Monday, the 14th, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will bring fire as we always do. Up next, we have an episode with the one and only Gina Swire. She joined us live for a live Next Level Mastermind and talked all about how to help you get to the next level when it comes to self-love. We hope you will enjoy. Hold on, let me get mine. And we will talk to you on the next one.
Talk to you soon.
Oh, and we don't have fans.